Overview: the Town Act passed in 1767 and 1768 were designed to raise the revenue of the British Empire by taxing the North American colonies. They were met with wild despite protests in the colonies, especially along the merchants in Boston. Town Act fielded the debate of the British Parliament right to tax the colonies. In 1772, Boston revolutionary Samuel Adams encouraged the creation of the committee responsibility of the new government and the new ruling of the unfair British. Colonial opposition on the Town Acts, after a century of half-slaughtered and negativity of North American colonies, Britain soured the imposed tighter control over them. After the 7-Year War ended in 1763, leaving the British Empire in financial distress is not acceptable for the young king. So, the young king's successor had made the Stamp Act, which leaves the taxes get printed on any material, anything, any goods to North America's and straight back to Britain's wealth. Charles Tawney, British Chancellor, has executed this in 1772, raised the revenue, import glass, lead, paint, colonials to collect. After, there were examples of ways to tax the people. Oil, there's a tax for that. Tea, there's a tax for that. Paper, ink, water, there's a tax for that. The acts of renewing of financial debt over the British Parliament had been the right to tax them. The British respond in theory, virtual representative, belong held to the members of the Parliament the duty bond to protect the interests of the British citizens and the subjects alike, included the colonials, and when the colonies assembled of New York and Massachusetts and denied the Parliament's right to have the taxation and argued the other colonies should resist. To the Crown, this was a pose of government, and this was a revolution. The king took it really seriously and sent 4,000 troops to Boston. The colonialists organized the boycotts of British goods, of pressuring Parliament, repealing unto the Town Act as the British customs, rival first collect taxes and prosecute smugglers, transfers, intensify, and restoring streets, demolitioning the protest, and sometimes turn on violence. Town Act were especially easy to relieve the Bostons, where the custom boards were headquartered. The merchants in Boston signed the non-partition agreement and suspend in all British goods, and merchants in the New York, Philadelphia followed in the plea of not guilty for the British Parliament. The act had settled down the stage of the Boston Massacre in 1770. Committees and corporations. Massachusetts government, Thomas Hickson, had also appointed by the Crown, had opposed a fact of the pro-British lawyers, follow the reason of the support of the Britons, merchants, taxpayers, and politicians. In 1772, the Boston Revolution, led by Samuel Adams, responded to an urgent call of Massachusetts employment conspiracy and contact the town people, which they an uprising, and the British, politically and impolitically, is embarrassed. More of the political has been active. By 1774, every colonialist assembly had created a committee of the young General George Washington. Adams' work was successful. the ungorge of among towns would intensify these resistance to the British rule and the burning of the spirits and the flower of the revolution. The crisis unfolded. Although the pro-British loyalist Hudson claimed the comedy was divisive and the massive of the White and Dyke Revolution, in reality, the people of Massachusetts are engaging in political, identical, debating and proper form, function and scope of government, ideology, republicanism, and taking root in the country colonies of Massachusetts that would provide a leader for the American Revolution. What do you think? In your own words, explain the roles and financial of the committees, and what was the British point of view? Tell me, comments below.